Hello, folks. Welcome back to Lady Vinyl Gaming here on this Tuesday where it's time for Story Hour. Uh, First things first, Chris F95333, thank you for the like. Thank you for being here. I know this is the first time you've spoken in the chat at the very least. I'm pretty sure you're new. I could be wrong. I know people do like to lurk. We also had a new follow from NeuroX Reki95. Um, so for you folks, because as far as I know, you're new, Tuesdays at 5 o'clock Eastern Time, we do Story Hour, which is where I play a text-based game and basically read it like it's a story. Hence the reason we call it Story Hour. Morning, Vani Senpai. Uh, Tally, thank you very much for the like. Or afternoon. Yeah, it's technically afternoon in parts of the world, the part of the world that I'm in. But yeah, I followed for a while, and you know me as okay, cool, Chris. Thanks for jumping in. Whatever is for people. That's fair, Ronnie Senpai. Um, but yeah, um, those of you who are new to this and who might be dropping in new, um, Story Hour, I do a text-based game. I try to do different character voices for the different characters. I will guarantee that the voices do not stay the same per different stream. I will forget each week what some of the different characters look like. Um, this is a side gig, so it's. I am not a professional voice actor in the slightest. If you do enjoy this, well, no, let me back up. If this is your first time here, um, and you want to hear what's been going on in the story, there is a playlist on the YouTubes. There we go. Jeez. Um, Evidently, Kristen Talley is also happy that you're here, which is good. We're all happy that you're here. Um, but yeah, any of the previous broadcasts are available on YouTube. Also, we do a Friday Night Fright Night where we do a group scary game. Leanne! Uh, and Sunday we do a general regular gaming thing. Okay, bye. What? Why? Where are you going, Ronnie Senpai? Biffles, get back here. Enjoy this. Um, any of those broadcasts, they do go out live, but then they are recorded and they are also on the YouTubes. So you're more than welcome to join any of those. We are at this point because it is scary season. We are going to be doing different costumes for the Friday night broadcast. I don't have the attention span. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I will say though, Leanne and I, Tally and I, are going to be playing Forks and Knives after this stream. So if you want to join us in the Discord. You just have to, I believe, do !Discord in the chat. It'll give you it should give you an invite, so you can join us in the Discord. Biffles, I know you already are a part of the Discord, but I'm just letting other people know. Um, so yeah, wow, I am frazzled and all over the place. But yeah, all of our streams. Oh, that's right. Would you like to have me? Of course, I would like to have you, Biffles. I love when you join us for it. Uh, we love you. Yes, we definitely love you, Biffles. Um, where was I? Wow, I'm really not great at keeping it together today. I did take my meds, but this is ADHD. Um, but oh, that's right. For the Friday Night Fright, we're still doing quote unquote lingerie stream. Or no, I'm sorry, bikini stream. I'm not allowed to call it lingerie stream, or at least I can't hashtag that. Then the automated moderation gets very upset here on Twitch. But we are going to be doing costumes still, on top of doing the whole scantily dressed thing. Bits and pieces will still be covered like they're supposed to be. This is not my OnlyFans channel. My OnlyFans channel, that you are more than welcome to subscribe to. The game streams are recorded and they are all on there. They are free to subscribe to. We are working on paid content, premium content, but it is not out yet. Uh, but yeah, I know we're actually not recording on OnlyFans or posting any recordings on OnlyFans for the month of October. So there is no costuming on OnlyFans. Um, but there is on the Friday Night Frights stream, and there is going to be on the Sunday streams as well. So you're more than welcome to follow us there. I believe that is all the business stuff. So last time we were doing Vampire the Masquerade Out for Blood, which was 2 weeks ago, we had returned back to our summertime home where we had in the past hung out with our grandfather who had unfortunately passed away. They left their home and their business to us, and we started rebuilding the business. Grandfather was very much not into uh, doing the online stuff, and he wasn't great at online orders, but we have tried working on that. We got an invitation from the mayor to join his hoity-toity party, and that was where we last were. We were hanging out or checking out the different parts of the house. We had run into the sheriff, who we had worked for during the summer, so we have a hopefully good reputation with the sheriff. Um, and then we had climbed up the staircase. So, seeing seeing Lacey alone, you climb the grand staircase to the second floor and make your way to her. She has her phone in hand and strokes the screen angrily with her finger. I can't get this stupid thing to work, she says, tilting the phone and swiping the screen. What's that? She shows you the phone where a video image of a room flickers in and out. An X pops over the display. It's a monitor for my home so I can see my daughter Gina while I'm out. It's not that I don't trust her nanny, but it gives me peace of mind. That makes sense. I suck at tech stuff. All I do on my phone is play games or order food. Lacey nods. You still know more than me. She tilts the phone and stares back over the balcony. This party filled up fast. There must be 30 people here now. Lots of movers and shakers in town are campaign donors. Not sure the last time you visited the Heights, but... Her voice fades as you focus on the screen of her phone. A toddler playing with a tea set. Next to her sits an old woman on a bed. She reaches toward the girl, but her wrist ends in a sharp stub. As you watch, the woman turns and smiles at the camera, her few teeth crooked and charcoal gray. Are you listening to me? Lacey asks, her voice raised. Sorry, I was looking at the old woman with your daughter. Lacey stares at the screen, swiping wildly. Woman, huh? What are you talking about? You look over her shoulder at the phone. In the frame, the little girl sits alone in the room. There was an old woman on the edge of the bed watching your daughter. She's very old with white hair, wrinkles, and a dark dress. Her right hand is gone. Lacey shoots you a troubled look. I don't know if you're delusional or drunk or high, but my daughter's being watched by my 17-year-old neighbor. See? A teenager walks into the room with a plate of carrot sticks. Gina perks up and hands her a teacup. But there was a woman. She smiled at me. Look, I don't know if this is a sick prank or what, but I don't appreciate it. She pushes past you and walks away. The image of the one-handed woman with the crooked smile flashes in your mind. Your hands feel clammy and a chill runs down your spine. You shake your head until her face disappears. With Lacey gone, you return to the first floor. A bell rings at the front of the grand hall. Mayor Bumpley stands before double doors with arms raised like a conductor. Everyone, attention! Dinner is now served. Please leave your drinks here and follow me inside. The chefs have done an absolutely perfect job tonight. You will not believe your eyes or your taste buds. Food, like love, brings out the best and the worst in people. Free food of the quality present in Bumpley Manor's dining room can be likened only to a drug for the way people push and maneuver around one another to be the first to indulge. Though everyone in attendance will be served that night, no one can seem to wait for Cornish hens and pheasant, pork belly and bacon jam, Magatout bees, Magat- Mangitout peas, and roasted asparagus, black ruffles, fresh baked pumpernickel bread, and other delectables. Fine china, crystal goblets and glasses, and polished silverware set each placed around a long table that could appear in some Victorian palace. As you start your search for a place to sit, you notice Salem has finally arrived. She's dressed in a black knit dress, with a black lace shawl over her shoulders, and her hair is up in a crown of braids. She stands in front of a place setting, already near the middle of the table. You're amazed at how quickly the table fills. You sit next to Salem. As you move to take a seat next to Salem, you notice both are already filled, and so are the seats directly across from her. She went straight into the dining room when she arrived at the party, while you came in for dinner closer to the end of the line of guests. You'll have to find another seat. Okay, I guess I'm going to try and sit next to the sheriff. You and Sheriff Ray are among the last people to enter the dining room. Following close, you take a seat next to him, which turn out to be the last pair together at the table near the center. He nods to you.
If we'd gotten here any later, we'd be eating in the kitchen. So how you feeling now? Better?
To be honest, still a bit shaken. I hadn't dug up those memories in a long time. The sheriff nods.
I hear you. I try to keep my memories buried deep. Whiskey helps.
He shoots you a casual smile.
You got something or someone that helps you?
Before you can respond, Mayor Bumpley strides into the room from the kitchen.
Attention, everyone! Dinner is now served. Our first course is a tasting plate of soups: an elegant vegan spring pea soup, a coconut prawn soup, and a chilled gazpacho. The pasta course will be roasted beet casunzi? I don't know how to pronounce that. With browned butter and poppy seeds. Finally, the pheasant will be out as our third course. I know you're all waiting for it. Please save your applause for the end of the night.
I'm missing the Cubs game for pea soup and some baits,
Sheriff Ray says. 2 columns of white-gloved servers parade out of the kitchen with wooden trays of soup bowls in each hand and deliver them in front of each guest. The mayor raises his hands at the head of the table.
I suggest you start from left to right with the pea soup first and progressing to...
Shouting from the grand hall interrupts the rest of the speech. The door swings wide and in walks a young woman in a sheriff's uniform.
This is a private party, officer. You can't go in there,
a butler says and tries to block her path. She walks around him but stops to hold up her hand.
I'm not an officer. I'm Deputy Sheriff Maya, and I need to speak to Sheriff Raymond right now.
The sheriff hangs his head like he's trying to hide from her, but the deputy spots him and heads straight over. She holds another clipboard and slams it on the table next to Sheriff Ray, rattling the glassware and soup bowls.
April, this better be damn good with you interrupting us.
He drops his spoon in the prawn soup, which splashes broth onto the tablecloth.
Sir, we have a credible report of a missing person. He's 17 years old and hasn't been seen in 6 hours. And, sir, I found something.
She shows him the clipboard. Sitting next to the sheriff, you can't help but look over his shoulder. A photo on the clipboard shows a pair of bloodied tennis shoes.
It's Tyler Sanders,
Deputy Maya says with an intensity to her voice, but wearing no emotion on her face.
Abe's grandson?
He stands and tosses a cloth napkin on the table. The deputy simply nods and clutches the clipboard to her chest. The mayor marches over, frazzled and angry.
What is the meaning of all this? I'm trying to throw a party.
Sorry, Marv. Gotta go. Thanks for the soup. All a bit too salty for my taste.
Sheriff Ray steps away from the table and walks to the grand hall with Deputy Maya close behind. Dinner ends shortly after the interruption. The mayor's staff scramble to provide platters for people to take home, but after the news spreads of the missing teenager, many guests lose their appetite. You're one of the last to leave, and on your way out, you find an iPhone in the driveway. Its gold and crimson case tell you Lacey lost it again. You'll make a point to return it to her tomorrow. On your way out, you call for an Uber, but there are none available in Jericho. You happen to see Sheriff Ray getting into a sheriff's car, and he waves you over
and gives you a ride home. You arrive home just after 9 o'clock. On your way inside, something feels wrong. You hear faint, wet footsteps. Someone else is inside. You reach for your phone to call 911. Before you dial, you hear a light pitter-patter upstairs. Before you know it, you're climbing the stairs. The large footprints grow lighter as you track them across the second floor and into your bedroom. You push the door open as slowly as possible and feel a stiff breeze flowing through your room. Your heart skips a beat before you walk inside. No one's there. A window is wide open and one of the heavy curtains rustles in the wind. A dresser drawer sits slightly open, and one of your suitcases, not yet unpacked, has been moved a few inches to the right. Otherwise, the room is as you left it. Someone has been here. At this point, you may use your unspent experience points or save them for later. I'm going to save them for later. I wanna go back to the game. Return to the game. It is forcing me to use them. Oh, save my experience points. Continue with the story. There we go. Do you know what it means to be loved by death? Do you know what it means to have death know your name? Quote from Anne Rice in Interview with the Vampire. Unsettled by the implications of someone having broken into your home, you find it difficult to fall asleep. After checking and rechecking the locks on the doors and windows, you eventually doze off. In the morning, you wake up wishing for a few hours more in bed. In the morning, you wake up wishing for a few hours more in bed. But with all the work to do in the house and the store, you force yourself to get up. The report of the missing teenager last night at dinner has also left you unsettled. Jericho Heights is a relatively small town, and you can't imagine how a teen can go missing, let alone a member of the high school's varsity wrestling team. Sure, there's still the disappearance of Monroe Duncan, but that was years ago. Your cynical side can't help but consider the worst possibility, that every hour he remains missing lowers the chance of him being alive. Hex slept by your feet the whole night, and when you rise, he hops off the bed and follows you downstairs. She hops off the bed and follows you downstairs. After you feed her, she slinks off to another part of the house, most likely to sun herself. Heading downstairs, you find a note slipped under your front door. To the new store owner, my name is Q Lamfon, and I am inquiring about continuing my position as retail clerk at Chapter 11. Mr. George Thompson hired me 6 days prior to his untimely passing. Though my time in your establishment was short, I learned the product catalog, store layout, and ordering system. I will accept the same pay rate of $8 per hour plus commission and can start at any time. You may text me through www.freetexter/3285433 to let me know your answer. Yours truly, Lam. After a short breakfast, you head into the shop. At 7, you see a handful of people already waiting outside for the grand opening. You scramble to make final arrangements before opening the store, adjusting products on shelves, making change available in the cash register, getting a book of receipts ready, and sweeping the floor and dusting off the shelves. Finally, at 7:30, you open the doors. Chapter 11 is open for business. You find the first 2 hours of your grand opening a whirlwind of activity. You make several sales within the first few minutes of opening as people are excited that your grandfather's store is back in business. Though the shelves are stocked, the number of customers quickly depletes your inventory. A fair number leave the store empty-handed. By 10 o'clock, the store is empty of the initial run and you have your first break. On their way out, a few people bring up the store's current state of disrepair. You should consider getting it fixed up as soon as possible, or it could affect the store's image. When you finally have a moment to breathe, you check your sales subtotal, $5.50. Since you don't have a credit card reader yet, your sales are all in cash. You hear an alert on your phone indicating a bank deposit. While living in Chicago, you helped develop a social dating app for a tech startup. Though your involvement was minimal, you provided a series of articles on on attracting the perfect mate. When the app took off, you were surprised to receive monthly royalties, which continue to this day. You check your balance, and sure enough, it totals $3,504. While you're checking your bank account, the front door opens again. In walks a tall man, well over 6 feet, though he has a rounded back like he's constantly ducking not to hit his head. He has dark hair, but as he walks under a light, it seems to vanish, revealing its thinness. Something about him tells you he's much older than people would assume. "Good morning," he says in a refined accent you can't quite place, maybe New England. "How wonderful it is that the store is open again. I worried it would just rot away, but here it is again, alive and vibrant, with fresh blood at the helm." He smiles with his lips closed tightly, sucking his teeth. "Thank you for coming in. Is there something I can help you with?" "I hope to make a good impression on all new customers." The man looks around the store, craning his neck without moving his body, sort of like an owl. "You can definitely help me, but we can get to that later. First, there is the little matter of introductions. I am Gabriel Jayfield, and I know you are Sky, a granddaughter of George." He bows to you. A bright flash of bright white fills your field of vision. A slow-moving image builds in your mind of a younger Gabriel walking through a cemetery. He comes to an open, fresh plot with a coffin next to it and its gravestone. Harriet Jayfield, 1901 to 1972. The image lasts a split second and blinks away. "So you knew my grandfather?" you ask. "I knew him quite well. We were business associates. He never mentioned me." He places both hands on the store counter, and you notice clean manicured fingernails with rounded edges, but pointy in the middle. He notices your stare and curls his fingers. "No, he never did, and I'm beginning to think the old guy kept a lot of secrets from me." Gabriel smiles, twisting his mouth to the side. "You know your grandfather quite well. I, too, know he kept many secrets, but now that you are in his home and run his store, maybe those secrets will come to life. You just need to look in the right places." "So I've heard you live at Bleakrest House," you ask. "Is that true?" His eyes widen almost as if he's proud of the recognition. "Why, yes. My business partner and I purchased Bleakrest House, as the town people call it, over 5 years ago. A terrible tragedy what happened at that home, but when you think about it, what is a home? It is the history of a place. Is it the people who live there? Whether those people benefited society or stole from it? Is it the deeds of a deranged man who did unspeakable things there? No, I think it is none of those things. It is the walls, the ceilings, the floors, and all the things inside. It is a structure in which we live, and we should set aside any mythology surrounding a house. To name it after a known killer serves no one, unless you're in the business of scaring children with stories of a boogeyman." Gabriel drags his hands across the counter, scraping his fingernails with a short squeal. "Very well said. Naming it after a murderer only memorializes him." "Yes, it certainly does," Gabriel says. "We should not create statues of terrible people, and naming the house after Silas Bleakrest is like carving a statue. Why, when my partner and I moved into our home, we noticed a plaque at the base of the driveway which told the history of the murders and the man. We had to petition the town council before we were allowed to remove it. What foolishness we sometimes have to deal with." Gabriel pulls away from the counter and walks in a short circle around the store. He leans over to stare at the cover of a book and returns to the counter. "Not much on the shelves as of yet." You frown. "I'm working on it. I'm just getting started in here, but expect to have everything set up soon." "Well, I should be going. You clearly have a lot of work to do, so I will leave you to it." Gabriel taps his hands on the counter. "Before I go, I would like to ask you to sell me something. When your grandfather ran the store, there was a rare first edition book set aside for me that I never purchased. The Stranger by Albert Camus. I would like to buy it now." You pull up the store's records on your laptop, and sure enough, you see a note about an order from Gabriel. Yep, looks like my grandfather set that aside for you. I have it here if you'd like it today. Yes, I would like that. He draws a leather wallet from his pants pocket and counts out $600 in crisp bills. I hope you don't mind Benjamin Franklin's. Please send the item to my home. You certainly have the address. For the first time, you see Gabriel throw back his head and laugh. No problem, you say, and write up a receipt for him. Thank you for your purchase. He waves his hand dismissively. I am the one to thank you. Good luck with your grand opening. I will certainly return as a customer. Good day to you. Have a good day, you say, and watch him leave your store, his long legs striding down the street until he disappears from view. No sooner has Gabriel left than you see Michaela show up outside your store. She rides in fast, wheels screeching to a halt, and jumps off her bike. Throwing open the door, she runs to your counter. Are you okay? He was just here. He was in your store and he didn't do anything to you, did he? Did he hurt you? She speaks in rapid bursts, barely taking breaths to breathe. Whoa, slow down before you pass out. Seriously, you're too young to have high blood pressure. Now is not the time to sass me. I don't have high blood pressure. I came to warn you, she says, banging her hands on the counter. That person who's just here is not who you think he is. I mean, he's not a normal person. You're not making any sense. Seriously, why don't you sit down and compose yourself? And then, vampires live here, she shouts. You blink hard as you stare at her. You can tell she believes what she's saying. Okay, slow down, take a moment, and think through what you want to say. She takes a deep breath and shakes out her arms. Okay, so I've been watching Mr. Jayfield and Miss Chastain for a long time now. I know for a fact Miss Chastain is a vampire. I'm not so sure about Gabriel because he can walk around in the daytime. I just want you to be careful and know who you're letting into your store. So why are you telling me this? Of all the people in town, why tell me? Or do others know? She scoffs and pushes back from the counter. I've tried to tell people, but no one believes me. Only one person believed me, or at least tried to believe me, but he's gone now, and you're here. It has to be you. Mr. George had to go, so you could come here and tell me what to do and what needs to be done. And what's that? You have to help me kill the vampires. You have to help me kill Miss Chastain. This is a very serious thing you're asking me to do. The girl is obviously troubled, so I need to play along for now. Michaela's expression becomes more intense, her eyes drawing inward, her lips curling. Yes, it's serious. Haven't you been listening? Do you know what vampires do? They drink people's blood, and then they kill them. How much more serious does something need to be to get somebody to help around here? Are you sure I'm the best person to help you? I haven't known you very long. Maybe talk to your mom? She shakes her head and looks off to the side of the store. I've tried, but they all say I'm crazy or I watch too many horror movies. When I tell my mom, she gets mad at me. No one listens, and that's what the vampires want. She wants people to stay in the dark because that's where she works best. Michaela pulls back from the counter and paces in front of it. Can I help you with something else? Maybe we can go talk to your mother together. I know they took Tyler. He's not missing. He's gone. Michaela crouches and hugs her body. You walk around the counter and approach her. What do you mean they took Tyler? How do you know that? I knew Tyler. He tutored me in math for a few months. He's a really good guy, volunteers at church, and he's on the wrestling team, she says. He's not the type of guy to go missing, but Tyler was on the podcast last week. What was he doing on the podcast? She stands back and paces again. He's some kind of prodigy. He plays the violin like nobody's business. You mean prodigy? Like a musical prodigy? She snaps her fingers. Yeah, that's it. He was playing the violin on the stupid podcast, and Miss Chastain was all into it. It was creepy, and now he's missing. I know she took him. If you really think she took him, then we need to tell somebody, like your mother. She turns and yells, No, don't get my mom involved. She takes a deep breath and blows it out hard. She puts on a smile and fixes her t-shirt. You're right.
I'm upset about Tyler. I just need to blame someone. But it's wrong. I should go now and get home. I have to wash Carl off, my dog, and do some soccer drills. It was good seeing you again. Bye, Michaela. With that, she walks out of your store and climbs on her bike. She glances back at you, and the worry returns to her face as she rides away. Your first 2 days in Jericho Heights have not been what was expected. A missing teen, your house broken into. This is not the town you once knew, and now you're dealing with a child who believes in murder.
No. She doesn't believe in murder. She's asking me to do murder, but she doesn't believe in murder.
And now you're dealing with a child who believes in vampires. You glance around the store, which has been empty of customers for a while now. Since you've only been in the Heights for 2 days, you really want to check out the town and catch up with new and old friends. Closing the shop for a while won't matter much. As you step outside, lock the door, and start anywhere to your first stop, you see Adam. Adam's office is only a short walk away down Red Tree Road and sits on a quiet street surrounded by residential homes and a row of elm trees. The front of the store has one long window with black letters spelling out Bain & Sons Accounting. On the other side of the window sit several workers. Adam, his brother Seth, and their mother Anna. Each one is working with the client, and only Adam acknowledges you as you step inside. You cross the short room to a wooden bench in a narrow waiting area close to his desk.
Mr. McCree, the IRS has no reason to call your phone. I can say with 100% certainty no one from the FBI is coming to arrest you for unpaid taxes. Keep in mind you are mostly retired from your plumbing business and only earn a small amount from ad hoc work. Your income is not of the IRS's radar.
Adam speaks in a deeper voice than you're used to, presenting a tone of authority and confidence. Mr. McCrae licks his lips and leans over the front desk. So far, his long, straight, gray beard touches the surface. His gray hair looks white under the iridescent lights.
I hear what you're saying, but the fellow told me he knew all my bank account figures and was sending my file over to the FBI in Chicago unless I settled up over the phone.
Trust me, you have nothing to worry about. If anyone from the IRS or the FBI or any other agencies contact you, feel free to give them my number. Don't say a word to these people otherwise, and don't pay them a cent.
Mr. McCrae smacks his lips and ends with a frown.
Is your father around? Maybe I should ask him.
He stands and looks down over Adam, clearly eyeing his wheelchair. Sitting there listening, you suppress the urge to interject.
My father is in a meeting across town,
Adam says, his tone betraying a sense of annoyance.
He will tell you the same thing, I'm telling you.
Mr. McCrae folds his arms over his chest.
And don't get all pissy with me, boy. I don't appreciate the tone of your voice.
Adam's mom leans back in her chair and looks over, a look of concern on her face. Adam stammers, his cheeks turning blotchy and red.
I'm sorry, but I just want you to understand. Someone in your condition shouldn't be getting all riled up. Tell your dad I'll give him a ring later.
As Mr. McCrae turns to leave, you say to Mr. McCrae, "So you think the IRS and FBI are after a semi-retired plumber in this insignificant town?" Mr. McCrae stutters on his way out.
What was that?
You shift forward in your seat. You think government agencies are putting effort into calling someone without a steady income in a remote suburb of Chicago. Maybe they should order a SWAT team to surround your house, or maybe you'll show up on the live PD show? Mr. McCrae twists his lips.
Why don't you mind your business, smartass?
He says and turns to Adam.
Maybe you shouldn't let your friends talk to your valued customers like that. In my business, I treat people who hire me with respect.
Anna McBain, Adam's mother, walks up to Mr. McCrae. "Chuck, this is just a misunderstanding. Why don't we go to the office and talk about it?" He waves his hand dismissively and opens the front door of the office.
Nah, just have your husband get back to me. I'm done here today.
When he leaves, Anna turns back to you. I'm sure you're trying to help in your own way, but now we have to do damage control. She walks past you and heads into the back office. I hope there never is a next time, but if there is, maybe you should just stay out of it, Adam says, shaking his head. Seth stands from his desk and steps over to Adam. To hell with that guy. He's always been such a bastard. I can't stand him or his sons. Sorry he treated you like that. The two brothers look a lot alike, although Seth is older and thinner and his hair hangs low and in a ponytail. They both resemble their father, Daniel, who was always regarded as the Jericho Casanova. At least, that's how it was when you were a kid. And the last summer you spent visiting your grandfather, one of Daniel's affairs surfaced, which almost ended his marriage. The marriage continued, and so did the affairs. Anna looked the other way and threw her attention harder into the business. Daniel's lies got better, and the wheels kept turning. Seth returns to his desk, and Adam rolls out from behind his own. Feel like taking a walk? He asks you. I need some air to clear my head. You and Adam stroll down Red Tree Road, away from the accounting office, into the shade of elm trees lining the sidewalk. The temperature is almost perfect today, though you notice sweat on Adam's brow. He always ran hot, even as a kid. He once passed out from heat stroke during the stretch of 100-degree weather when you were both 13. As you reach the corner, Adam cuts up the cross street. All these years of me complaining that there's no way for me to get down into the street and nothing ever happens. He pushes his wheelchair another 20 feet to ride down the ramp of the driveway, and then backtrack to the crosswalk to stay on Red Tree Road. At the next corner, the sidewalk is still not sloped, but raised 2 or 3 inches. He pops up the front wheels, but struggles to make it onto the curb. Do you need help up the curb? You ask. Adam shakes his head. No, but thanks for asking. The worst is when people just assume I need help and jump right in without asking. I can do most things myself, and if I do need help, I'll ask. He rocks the chair until the 2 back wheels hop onto the curb. That makes sense. The 2 of you continue on the sidewalk for another block before turning down Elmwood Street. A doctor's office, a craft store, a coffee shop all line the street. Farther down is Ginger's garden, where dozens of potted plants and colorful flowers sit out in front of the store. Outside of it, a man in a long apron unravels a garden hose and waves at Adam as he spots him. Hey, Jameer, Adam says, releasing one wheel to wave. How's it going? Jameer turns on the faucet. Water trickles from the end of the hose. Better hurry up, he says with a smile. Something hidden in that smile, and when he looks away, his deep-set eyes stare off in the distance. Oh, Chris, thanks for the subscription. I appreciate that. You and Adam pick up the pace to pass the store. Jameer twists the faucet, and water sprays out across the sidewalk and onto the flowers. Once you pass, Adam wheels closer to you and whispers, Poor guy. Jameer came here about 10 years ago as a war refugee from South Sudan. It's all sorts of bad stuff. You glance over your shoulder at Jameer and bump into Adam's wheelchair. That's horrible. Yeah, he's a good guy, though. And, well, if there are any real loud noises like fireworks or something, don't make fun of him. I never would, you reply. Adam nods and changes the subject. So, have you heard any news about the missing teen? Not since last night. Adam shakes his head. There's something going on in this town. I'm getting super worried. What are you worried about? You and Adam turn down an alley back toward the accounting office. Just forget I said anything. I hope they find Tyler. Finish your thought. You can't leave me hanging like that. Adam takes a deep breath. I just think that a lot of events in the city are all tied together. First Monroe Duncan goes missing, and now Tyler. There have been other happenings in Jericho that you don't know about since you've been away. What other events have happened? Adam squirms in his seat. It's not too much to go into now. Let's just say missing people is the tip of the iceberg. Now that you're back, keep your eyes open. I have a feeling you'll see what I mean. You're being super vague right now, you say. You have to give me some specifics. The 2 of you take the last turn back down Red Tree Road and once again see the sign for Bain & Sons Accounting. Adam swallows hard and hesitates before speaking. I know this sounds crazy, but a few weeks ago I saw something I can't explain. See, after my accident, my dad converted our den to a bedroom for me. So on this particular night, my parents were out of town, and Seth was spending a few nights at our home while he was getting his roof repaired. I heard footsteps upstairs, but I knew Seth was asleep. He always gets up super early and falls asleep by 10, but I'm a night owl. Someone else was upstairs. You and Adam stop outside of the office. Through the glass window, his mother beckons him in. Please tell me you're going to finish your story before you have to go back to work. He holds up his hand to his mother, indicating 1 minute. When he turns back to you, his left eye twitches, and he's breathing faster. So Seth was upstairs asleep, and someone else was walking around. There were light steps, too. They seemed to glide across the floor. It's an old house with lots of weak floorboards, and I barely heard a creak. I must have sat at the bottom of the stairs for an hour, listening, waiting, afraid. I still remember my heart beating. I was covered in sweat. I didn't know who was up there, but for some reason I was terrified. You've never seen Adam like this before, and whether or not you believe the story, he believes it. So what happened? Could you see anything from the bottom of the stairs? Did you hear anything else? He lowers his head, takes in a deep breath, and lets it out slowly. I did see someone. At the top of the stairs, we have a spare room that is barely ever open. Mom wanted to make it into a sewing room, but it just became a big storage closet. For some reason, the door was open, and on the back of it was a full-length mirror. Maybe the wind blew it open? I don't know, but I saw a reflection. It was after midnight and completely dark, but in the moonlight, I could see a figure stepping across the hall. I think it was a woman in a long red dress. Just when I caught a glimpse of her, she moved away in a blur. It was the damnedest thing, and for days I replayed it that moment in my mind, questioning whether it was a figment of my imagination or if it was real. I would have been freaked out and questioning everything, so I can't blame you. Did you ever talk to your brother about what happened? Adam turns his chair towards the store, but waits to enter. He was sick the next day, pale, cold, tired. We took him to see Dr. Lobo, and she diagnosed him with acute anemia. She told him to eat steak for a few days in a row and come back for a follow-up, but it doesn't make sense. It's not like he was injured or even had a nosebleed, but he was just drained. So, what was it, or who was it? Look, I don't know, he said, his voice shaking. I gotta go. Thanks for stopping by. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for the walk. Adam heads into the office, and you turn and walk away. Still thinking of the story he just told you and the woman in the red dress, as you reflect on the past few days in Jericho. As you reflect on the past few days in Jericho Heights, you feel unsettled and concerned, worried about my friends and the people of Jericho Heights. The vision of the Jericho Heights from your childhood is slowly shattering. Tyler Standers went missing last night, and now you hear about Adam's brother. You're worried about someone breaking into your home last night, but you can't stop thinking about Adam and Salem and people you've just met, like Michaela and all the people at the dinner party. Someone is preying on the people of Jericho Heights. And I believe that is where we're going to leave it for today, because that kind of ends that little arc of the story. We will be back next week with our next episode. If you do enjoy this, we also do our Friday Night Fright, where I will be in costume this week. So show up to see what that costume is. I'll also be in costume on Sunday for our regular stream. And of course, there is the YouTube stuff as well that you're more than welcome to check out. That's about it for now. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.